My name is Teresa Griffin, and I'm from Havana, Florida. I was going to college, my fourth year of college for my bachelor's degree. I worked at the Food and Drug Administration. I met this guy, and I moved in with him, stopped school, stopped working at the Food and Drug Administration. He was a known drug dealer, and I stayed with him 7 years, and we caught a case. When we caught the case, I had very little to no participation, but when they charge you with conspiracy, when you're that partner of that person, regardless, they charge you with the whole conspiracy, not just your part. Just say, for instance, you just the carrier that carried it, but they charge you with the whole conspiracy, all the charges.
The life sentence, this incredibly long sentence for someone who was little more than a glorified cab driver in the case. You know, someone who may have transported drugs from A to B, but otherwise was not a ringleader, not a manager, not an organizer, not the mastermind, not the person who knew the full scale of it, not the person creating any of the relationships, someone who didn't carry a gun, engage in absolutely no violence. I mean, a life sentence for this is shocking. But then when you think it's to somebody who was 24 years of age, had 4 children, one of whom was just 7 months old, this again is just barbaric and obscene. This wasn't just a sentence that was going to be served by Teresa. It was served by her 4 children, her 4 minor children. And the devastation of that, they lost their father and their mother. And of course it created a major trauma and dislocation in their own lives.
My aunt, which is my dad's big sister, ended up with my kids. And things happened that I blame myself for that happened to my kids. And it was like a generation, something that happened to me generations ago. And once they got big, teenagers, my mom got 2 of them, my oldest 2 daughters and my son. But my youngest one stayed with mom. And she stayed with mom because she's disabled and she can't do anything for us. And I got visits from my daughters when they were older, but it was like maybe teenagers at that time. But during the time they were with my dad's sisters, I never got any visits. And right now today, we are still coping with what happened there. It's just hard. It was hard on them and it was hard on me. When I heard Jane Ann's voice and told me my clemency was granted, at first I was numb. Because after doing 25 years, and when you get a life sentence, that means life. No date. If you die in prison, on your death certificate, it's like escape. That's what they put on there, is escape by death. And I just thought I was going to be in there the rest of my life.
I mean, I was trembling. I was overcome. I was not numb, Teresa. I was the one sobbing when I called you. Yeah, it was a very emotional call, and just an incredible moment that I feel I was privileged to be given that opportunity. As I say, I don't want to take credit for Teresa's case. I think Teresa's case wrote itself. It just needed any lawyer put it in, frankly.
And when Jane Ann told me that I was granted my clemency, I felt good about it, but I was scared too, because I hadn't been on the street in over 25 years. Didn't know what to expect. Didn't know what to expect from my family. But I was happy to get out of it, and I'm thankful that Jane Ann did look into my case and did give me the opportunity to be able to come home to my kids, my grown kids. But it was hard. That whole prison sentence was hard. 25 years is a lot of time.
It was my first grant, and it was that which kind of galvanized me to push further for do a lot more cases. The Clemency Project was the biggest pro bono harnessing of volunteer attorneys that I think we've seen in history. I mean, we had thousands of lawyers. Ultimately, they submitted 2,600 applications or so to the president, but many others submitted applications outside Clemency Project because they didn't meet President Obama's factors. So we're talking thousands of lawyers doing thousands of applications over pretty much a 2.5-year period. This was an astonishing mobilization of the bar for something that is really, to quote Walter Dellinger, the civil rights issue of our day. Mass incarceration really is the civil rights issue. The fact that we are locking up so many people for so long is just a stain on our justice system, and something that I'm glad finally there's a bipartisan push to really address. But it has destroyed families, it's destroyed communities, it has, of course, disproportionately impacted the lower socioeconomic classes, and massively disproportionately impacted people of color.